So I looked into what's happening with Star Wars Eclipse, and I found a lot of very interesting things that seemingly no one is really covering currently. So I'm gonna share them with you. And none of this, by the way, is gonna be positive in the least. There is a huge chance that Star Wars Eclipse is gonna get shut down. Or if it doesn't get shut down, you probably will wish that it got shut down because it's looking really, really bad. If you don't remember what Star Wars Eclipse is, it came out of nowhere 4 years ago, dropped a teaser on YouTube, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked good. It had 23 million views also, which is very impressive. And I mean, can you blame them? Let's watch it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason this bad boy got 23 million views, and a lot of people were very hyped about it because this is just a cinematic reveal trailer. But man, it looks good. It looks pretty fire. I ain't gonna lie. So, a lot of people were very hyped, very excited about it, and then nothing essentially for the last 4 years. By the way, 26 minus 4, yes, those are the fun years that we are talking about, so that's a major spoiler for what's happening. Then we recently got this article right here from a Games Reactor. Star Wars Eclipse is still years off of completion. Now, granted, I think that's a given considering they only had a cinematic trailer, but that was 4 years ago, which already is creating a pretty bad scenario. Because if you don't remember what happened 4 years ago, well, a lot of stuff happened 4 years ago. It's been a wild ride, what can I say? But, you know, everyone was locked up at that time, and gaming companies overspent, overhired, and overproduced and overpromised. A lot. So, this game is effectively exactly in the midst of that time period. So that is already an actually super massive red flag, just from the beginning. With everything that has happened in the games industry, with the layoffs, with the this and that, we already know that that alone is very, very bad news for anything that got started. Pretty much historically, everything that got started around that time period has in some way crashed and burned. But granted, we do not know if Star Wars Eclipse has crashed and burned just yet. Just yet. Now, obviously, from the video title, you probably know that it has happened, and I am working towards it, okay? Patience, my young Padawan, which is Ahsoka, which is barely legal. God, that is the best Star Wars meme. Fucking hell. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you are missing out so much, my dear friend. It is the greatest Star Wars meme out there. Holy, whoever made that, genius. Anyway, let's read a little bit of the article. Work on the game is said to be incredibly slow going. Doesn't sound good. You know, 6 years is a fast-made game. 5 years is very fast. The average AAA game goes, you know, in 8 years at this point, which is very slow, I would like to say. But the fact that they are openly stating that Star Wars Eclipse has pretty much accomplished nothing and done nothing in 4 years, and it's already been 4 years, puts it more on a Fable timetable than anything else, which is very bad because Fable is going to be a disaster if you have not been following that. even with the progress that has already been made. AK, no progress. We have no news, no information, no nothing about what's happening with Eclipse, effectively. Following its reveal back in 2021, a few of us were surprised to hear that Quantic Dream Star Wars game would be potentially released at the end of the console's generation. Well, that didn't happen. As the years have gone by, though, it does seem that we'll be lucky to get this game before 2023. So already we have a completely broken timeline that is not even close to reality. Well, this project was started in the worst possible time to make a game, which is insanity. Inside Insider Gaming's most recent report on the progress of Star Wars Eclipse isn't the most hopeful. While it is mentioned that a good portion of the game is complete, sources claim that the development team has been making very little progress over months. Even now, 5 years on from its reveal, it's said that Star Wars Eclipse is still looking to be years off completion. So, whenever you hear something like this and they say, oh, but good progress has been made, that's always a lie. This is like Ashes of Creation. This sounds, by the way, literally like Ashes of Creation. Oh, the game's 2 years away from releasing. 5 years ago, they said that. The game is almost complete. What do you mean? You can only explore like 5% of what was promised. What do you mean it's almost complete, dude? Oh, it's gonna be finished in a year or two. Yeah, and we all know what happened to Ashes of Creation. This is the same type of situation. Obviously, I said that this game looks like it could be cancelled, most likely. And I'm not kidding. I was not kidding when I said that, because this is just, some fluff stuff about how bad the situation is. But the situation gets worse when you actually look into what fucking Quantic is. So, through sheer coincidence, I did not even remember this. A week or two ago, we were talking about a Spellcasters Chronicles early access. This game right here. Also, something that is known to be the most generic, garbage-looking, who honestly cares, Unreal Engine 5 is garbage type of situation. Like, everything about this screams the most generic thing since the invention of genericism. That's it. It's so bad. It's so forgettable. And this thing had a whopping 888 players on release, most likely the devs, and it quickly collapsed absolutely nothing, needless to say. Complete disaster. And this was by Quantic Dreams. The people making this. Yeah. These are the people who are supposed to make Star Wars Eclipse. And then you look at what Quantic Dreams have done. Well, they made a Detroit Become Human, which was critically acclaimed a good game. Had a reasonable, very reasonable, by the way, I guess for an indie development company, success, but, reasonably good success of 25k players at its peak, which is very nice for an indie development company. Technically indie development. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You fucking see the last tab that I have open, don't you? If you weren't lazy, you could have fucking figured out what's happening here just from my open tabs, honestly. Probably not. That's a bit too much. But what have they done? Well, they haven't done too much. They did make also Heavy Rain, I think. And which Heavy Rain is this? The murder? Yeah, it's the murder thing, which was known but wasn't the best thing, the biggest thing. So effectively, what I'm trying to say here is Quantic doesn't have that much resources. They certainly don't have enough resources to make a AAA game for 10 years that's a Star Wars IP. So, how the hell are they gonna manage this? Well, that's the tricky part. They won't. Because you see, Quantic Dream, sorry, is owned effectively by NetEase. Yes, NetEase. That NetEase that recently was responsible for closing a lot of Western gaming studios because they pulled out their monetary support from them because, well, the deal with the devil has its price. And that's the situation here because NetEase is giving money to Quantic Dream to make the Star Wars game. And, well, it seems that the speculation currently is, as far as I can tell. Now, granted, this is not the greatest speculation, but it is a speculation nonetheless. I do think it has some merit at least. The NetEase wanted to see if Quantic Dream has it in them to actually make something good, and that's why they told Quantic Dream, okay, you got to make something smaller, but make it not shit and be successful. And then they decided to make a Spellcaster's Chronicles. And if they did not do this, well, NetEase would not give them money to continue on their Star Wars project. And well, considering this thing was a major flop, which by the way, it doesn't make sense in the first place that pretty much indie studio. I think Quantic Dreams is considered like a single or double A studio. I'm not 100% sure on this. But the fact that a studio like this would be able to actually concentrate on two projects is preposterous in the first place. So you know that the Spellcaster thing was some kind of situation here. And well, most likely it was because NetEase wanted to see if their investing money into that was going to work out. And well, I don't think it is, and I don't think NetEase thinks it is. And NetEase do not hesitate to pull out their financial support for these games. So, Star Wars Eclipse may not get cancelled because it's a Star Wars project. And Lucasfilms probably will have ownership of the assets and all this stuff made. We don't know how that works, but probably Lucasfilms does have control. Well, Disney, I should say, has control over what's happening there to a degree. So there is a chance that this project doesn't get canceled, which also is not exactly in line with what has historically happened because there have been a lot of Disney Star Wars shit that has been canceled because of, the failures of the Acolyte and things like that, obviously. So there is a chance that this just gets flat out canceled because Quantic Dreams can't handle it. They don't have the money because NetEase pulls out. Or Quantic Dream stops making it and then Disney just gives this over to someone else to finish, which is also a possibility. In either case, yeah, Star Wars Eclipse currently does not have a lot of chances of survival. Or if it does survive, it does not have a lot of chances to be good. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. Star Wars Eclipse is dead in the water. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Bye!